Hey, everybody, it's Eri from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and the XRP ledger AMM, the automated market maker, is live. Finally, the fix was completed and it has launched again. So Moai Finance, which is integrated with the digital asset XRP on the Root network by Futureverse, asks, are you ready for the wave of XRP DeFi? I know I am. And yes, it's unbelievable. It appears that the SEC is going to sue Uniswap. It's 6 years old. They have failed to provide any guidance in the space, and now they send them a Wells notice. Attorney Bill Morgan and Attorney Jesse Hines both reminds the community that, yeah, it's exciting for the XRP ledger and a timely reminder that the decentralized exchange and an amendment to implement the automated market maker, that the SEC is seeking a rule change to expand the definition of an exchange under the Exchange Act, and that may cover the XRP ledger. We have to watch this very closely. Santiago Velez, which just recently launched on the Flare network, says, I hope it's clear to everyone now why the XDeFi protocol decided not to issue a token to accompany the launch of decentralized futures contracts. It lends itself to increased regulatory attack surface, as the Wells notice from the SEC against Uniswap proves this. Our way of community growth via our unique referral tree and on-chain split of all protocol fees using a referral code in lieu of a token is how they're doing it. So he thinks that they will be correct in the long run as a more sustainable approach to decentralized products and community incentives. Whenever you come to the end of an era, you get that gulp in your throat. Nick Bougalis, one of the few devs in the world who has the skill set to contribute to the XRPL Ripple decode, which is really required for critical changes, has submitted his resignation to maintaining the code base. I want to thank him so much for everything, and I will never forget meeting him in Tokyo at the meetup in Ginza 2019. Read this title, Ripple-owned Mataco sees most of execs and marketing team depart. Well, you obviously know this is a hit piece. Yep, Coinbase again, churning out biased articles, this time by writer Ian Allison. And based on his LinkedIn, he lacks firsthand experience outside the realm of keyboard banging. M&As, mergers and acquisitions, always reorganize the executive staff. Well, I'll tell you, there is a challenger that's coming to disrupt this 100% rip-off pricing model business. Can you imagine? They get $20,000 per day for a website ad, $70,000 per day for top banner ads, and $77,000 to be in their weekly magazine. And don't even ask about their press release prices. Big news from Kondo-san. He is the president of SBI VC Trade. So the travel rule has been made mandatory in Japan, and SBI is going to be a hub that connects various domestic crypto asset exchanges in Japan, strengthening the anti-money laundering laws. Wow, big role. Richard Holland gave us an update that the XRP ledger has 466 nodes running the latest release, and the Zahao network has 950 running latest release. Wow. Healthy and engaged ecosystem? Yes, for sure. I didn't know this, but Anthony Scaramucci has a podcast. It's called Open Book, and he had attorney John Deaton on as a guest talking about his book, The Food Stamp Warrior. It was a wonderful interview, especially since the Mooch did a great job allowing John to speak without a lot of interruptions. That's one thing. There are so many podcasts out there where the guests just have no room to speak. But there's a segment starting at the 20-minute mark that was golden. Yes, I'm going to play that clip for you. And obviously, we need to unseat Senator Warren because she is bought and paid for. I think if you have anybody in your network that is from Massachusetts, do try to share this podcast. Before I say goodbye to you and let that clip take you out, our world lost the first American-born sumo wrestler who became the first non-Japanese grand champion, or as it's called, Yokozuna. He won 11 championships. Physically, he was imposing at 203 centimeters or 6 foot 8 inches with his 233 kilograms, weighing in at 514 pounds. Unfortunately, he has died of heart failure at the age of 54. Please rest in peace, Akebono-san.
Well, first, everything you said is accurate. Income inequality is a political slogan to Senator Warren. To me, it's my life. And I don't believe in pitting American versus American and the identity politics and the class warfare. And before I answer your question why I'm specifically running, I think that she embodies everything wrong with Washington, D.C. She went 11 years ago. She said she was outraged that the bankers didn't go to prison because of the 2008 financial crisis. She promised to go to Washington, D.C., Anthony, to hold the bankers accountable. Who do you think wrote her last bill? The Bankers Institute. We know that.
The association, it was ridiculous. She just cut and pasted. She's bought and paid for. It's just so obvious.
So now that they've written her last bill, she went to fight them, couldn't beat them, joined them, and now she's the biggest lobbyist for those bankers that she went to hold. But the reason I'm running is what you said earlier. This country's in crisis, man, and Massachusetts is ground zero in that crisis. And when I say crisis, it's everywhere around us. Illegal immigration, debt crisis. Half of Americans don't have $500 set aside in case of an emergency. On top of that, you got the inflation and the housing costs that are so high it's pricing regular people out of the economy. You got 1 million people dead on opioid addiction. You look overseas, Anthony, the world's in chaos with Iran and the Houthis in the Red Sea, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza. But when you look at the biggest crisis we face is the crisis of leadership in Washington, D.C., because those folks, all they want to do is fight for power or to stay in power, point the finger at each other, get nothing done. I'm running because I really do understand the struggle of regular folks, people who feel like they can't get ahead no matter what they do and doing everything right. And I understand those struggles because I've lived them, whether it's poverty, whether it's not being able to make your bills on time and that feeling that you're drowning no matter what you're doing. A small businessman, I put $100,000 on credit card debt to start my business. You know what that's like, and you take those chances. And so what I said to you earlier is that I embody the American dream. And I fear that we're losing it and that it's dying before my eyes. Anthony, you know this. You're someone who gives to other people. I don't want to be one of the last poor people to achieve the American dream in this country. And when you look at DC, you don't see someone with that experience who's overcome poverty, who understands those daily struggles. And I think it's time we hire someone like that. And when you look at Senator Warren, anyone else would be fired in Massachusetts with her job performance. She's presented as a primary sponsor over 350 bills. One in 11 years has been passed and had to do with flying of flags on federal buildings. Anyone else gets fired. And I'm just asking the voters to hold her accountable, just like you or I would be held accountable at work.